Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams. We're here for the Crystal Palace Everton extra time segment. I'm joined by Cal. Cal, nice to see you again, mate.
Nice to see you
Um,
too, Matt.
have you sort of not recovered, but has the result sort of sunk in yet for you?
To be honest, mate, going into it, I expected us to lose to Palace because it's just, I think everything that we saw in that game was expected from what we've seen recently, from what Palace has seen. Because I think with Everton, it's just we always beat Arsenal, don't we? I honestly think Arsenal's the one game every season where no matter how good or bad we're doing, the season pauses, we beat them, and then we move back to normal. I just think that's how it seems to work with Arsenal recently. It doesn't matter how crap we are, but yeah, it was a depressing game to watch all around.
Yeah, I mean Arsenal were like. I know we've been poor, but Arsenal for the Arsenal game were horrendously poor. I don't know how they went on that 10-game unbeaten streak when I watched them against us because it takes some doing for us to be at the dogs, at the races for it, and we were just all over them. But yeah, I did wonder if we'd get beat by Palace. Can't say I was shocked. Uh, I honestly thought this would be it for him, though. I don't know if they're going to insist, but I honestly thought this would be it for him by now. I
Gotta be it.
thought Palace was winnable, should be deemed as winnable
It
anyway.
was. We battered them in the second half at points. There were points in that where it was just sloppy mistakes and giving the ball away. That was the problem. It was starting Ben Godfrey at left back when the amount of opportunities we would have had with if Digne was playing left back that game was like Godfrey made some decent runs, but Godfrey's good runs were all down to his pace and how quick he was. He made that one chance to Andre Gomez, which was probably one of our best chances of the game. That
Yeah,
cross into Andre Gomez, and it was a good connection from Gomez and everything, who, to be fair to the fella, has started to look like he's improving at least. We weren't fantastic against Palace, but, at least Gomez was one of the players who actually seemed to be trying.
yeah. I mean, looking back, I rewatched the goals and the game and the highlights as well before coming on just to refresh my memory. But there were a lot of their goals were down to our own devices. Damari Gray gave the ball cheaply. I don't know what he was doing. I say he gave it away. He pretty much lobbed our own defender and played Ayew on for the assist for Gallagher. That was silly. I'm surprised Ayew didn't score against us. He looked like he really wanted to. And then the last, another corner goal again, another set piece goal. Add that to the list this season. We've gone back to how we were under Marco Silva a little bit with set pieces. And their other goal, again, if I'm not mistaken, it was Seamus Coleman trying a quick free kick, levers it out straight back at Palace.
It's not even that. He tried to kick it into the player in front of him
I,
and missed completely. He put the ball down in front of, it might have been Ayew again, puts the ball in front of Ayew or Zaha, I think it was, tries to lever the ball at them, just gives it to Conor Gallagher, and Conor Gallagher's like, right, cheers, mate. This is
and
another
it's a
goal for
great
me.
finish as well. It's a
Yeah,
really good goal.
the goal was, what can you say? Top corner, world class goal. But why are you putting Gallagher can score from range, and he proved it, and just giving him the ball away cheaply. It's just, I think that's it for Rafa. I think that's it.
I mean, I thought today apparently there were photos of him going into the Liver building. But Alan Myers has come out and said that it was already a scheduled meeting, regardless, not a reactionary meeting. So I was a little bit, but I genuinely this morning saw it and thought, no, he's gone, got to be gone.
I think you've got to keep him in for Chelsea because I think switching and it's so close to Chelsea that I know we're going to lose anyway, but it drops our chances to nothing. To absolutely nothing if we would have just said, here you go, Dunk, here you go, mate. Here's 3 days to prepare for Chelsea. At least last time we played Chelsea, I'm pretty sure we had a bit of time to prepare for it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I know a couple in the comments here are saying, which we'll go through. Firstly, hello to Wormu saying, how's it going? It's not too bad. But Tazal Islam has put Sack Rafa, the guy's clues, but he's also put here, it's Groundhog Day all over again. It feels like this situation comes up every season. And that's literally how many times we've seen where a manager's on the fringe of being sacked before a Chelsea game. Paul was on with me the other day and said Everton always slump in December. It's the same thing.
It was literally every year it's this, except last season where December was probably one of our best runs of the season, where we beat Chelsea or drew with Chelsea, beat Arsenal, beat Leicester. And then besides that, we're crap. But I don't, when we shouldn't really be surprised, should we? Because I think the big problem with Rafa is he is a decent manager, but as soon as he loses a player, as soon as he loses up the fans, no one's going to side with Rafa. Or especially with, I don't know what it is about Digne. I don't know what it is. Why I know it's Digne doesn't like the tactics, but any good manager would sit with Digne and try to sort that out. Rafa's just gone, all right, cheers, mate, see you later. Apparently, it's the same with Alan as well. Apparently, reports are coming out that Alan is an argument now and not an injury.
Yeah, I was just about to say this because you make a very good point, and this is my biggest worry. Like, other than the fact the tactics aren't working, and I'm sick of watching us trying to play a long ball and being the most. I think we're 19th on successful long balls, so we're not very good at playing long ball. Yet we insist on doing it to Rondon as well, or Richarlison, and Richarlison's not a target man. It's the fact that he's on his way to. I mean, there were rumours about him and James Rodriguez, but that was I still think that could have been a little bit on Rodriguez for saying silly things like I don't know who we were playing at the weekend.
You can even tell in Qatar that the guy's a bit of a pleb with the whole red card situation in his first game. You can tell the guy's got a mouth on him.
Exactly, but you've got to mark. But I am still going to mark that as one player he's fell out with. Marcel Brand supposedly, the head of medical, Danny Donacci, fell out with him. I don't think he fell out with the lad, the chief scout the other day. I think he's just fell victim
I think
to
Brand
slim
hired
line.
him, so he went out with Brand.
I was going to say, yeah, I couldn't tell if he fell with this slim line we're doing. But now you've got Digne, Allen, again, a player that we can't afford to be, not playing. And I still think is only a couple more mistakes away from Richarlison spine his backside with him. I know he said it was an injury, but Richarlison didn't look like he wanted to come off. He wasn't saying I'm injured, take me off. He was fuming. With January around the corner, if Digne goes, Richarlison goes, Allen goes, our squad is considerably worse.
We're down. If we lose those players, we're going to the Championship next season. There's no debate about it. They are like 3 of our 5 best players. And listen, because I think Dom's gone in January. I really do. New agent. Arsenal will pay 60, 70 million. I really do think they will pay it. And I don't blame the fella. People are saying Arsenal's a sideways step, but it's not anymore. We're a relegation team. We are a relegation team. I understand we beat them and everything, but we are. That's this. Maybe next season it'll be different because if I am right, the 3-year cycle of FFP resets, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I can't see Rafa being the manager either, in all honesty. He's lucky to last now.
I would happily, right, if they want to give us a manager and say, listen, right, Everton fans, here he is, but it's going to be a process. You're going to have to wait. At least then we know something's coming for the future. With Rafa, it's supposed to be for the here and now, but it isn't. And, Eugene's put here, it's because we're missing DCL. And maybe you are right. I do agree that we'll get more points with DCL in. But does DCL want to be a part of a team that's hoof it up long ball football? No, the guy's got ambitions for his career. There's no ambition in Everton at all. Like, maybe we'll do a cup run, but we'll do a Wigan, and if we do win the FA Cup, it'll be a cup run and relegation in the same year.
So I was going to say, I get what Eugene is saying, and it sort of links with what Tazul's saying here about he was behind Rafa at first, but the tactics are starting to show that they're not working, and I get what people are saying, DCL. But we're not a one-man football team. Digne, Allen, Decore, Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I would say are very, very Jordan Pickford. I'd say are very good players. Yerry Mina's very good. That's about 8 players. That's 8 players. Missing one shouldn't hinder your season when you've got 8 good players. And then the ones below him, like the Ben Godfreys, are good. They're just not that level yet.
He looks like he's back.
Go on, sorry.
No, I'm just saying Godfrey looks like he's back, though.
Yeah.
He's past few games, he did really well to say he was out of position. I'll give it to him. I know the bloody Palace fullbacks aren't very quick, but he was really, really good that game, and I think he looked like the only player who wanted to win. But I just think the problem with him is he's just not a left back, is he? So people are complaining Ben Godfrey's out of position here, Ben Godfrey's out of position there. What do you expect the fellas a centre back? So
Um,
no, it's just, and even Mark puts here, Everton will never win the FA Cup with what we have. Wigan won it. If we're not better than Wigan, then we might as well just relegate ourselves now. Just end the season now. But no, I don't expect us to win anything in the cup, and I'm not claiming that is going to happen. I'm just saying the only chance of joy this season now is a cup run. That is how bad it has got in December.
Yeah, our season's a write-off already, which is really, Moz has put it here. All right, lads, another week ruined. I don't know if it's the manager. I think it's a little bit there, but I think it's the state of what's going on behind the scenes. I've never felt so disconnected at times. I've been like, just can't be bothered. Can't be bothered with it, ruining my week. But yeah, no, I agree with what you say about Dominic Calvert. I hope he doesn't go to Arsenal, just because I don't think that's a move that would get him the best in his career. And also, it'd be a real shame that he's out for basically half the season, and then when he is fully fit, he jumps ship. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, obviously, looking forward, we've got Chelsea. That one's not going to be an easy game. It's not going to be easy. I'm already putting it down as a loss. But even if we do lose it, I still can't see the manager. I thought today would be the day. If he's not gone after the Chelsea game, I think Majiri is just digging his heels in.
The fella don't want to admit he's wrong.
No, I know, which is really. I mean, I know obviously right now fans are angry at a lot of the board, and Brands is getting it or got it before he left. Denise was getting it, although I don't know what Denise does, so I'm not going to comment on it because I actually don't.
I think she's the CEO, but if that's true, she's the CEO and she's a charity woman.
Yeah, I don't think she's in charge of or responsible for the 11 walkabouts on the.
No, she's not. But if her job at all remotely involves something football related, and she's a charity woman.
Yeah, I mean Kenrat I know gets some stick as well, but Majiri
deserves it though.
Yeah, but so does Majiri's. The fancy stadium does not save him from the fact that sometimes it feels like he's playing bloody not even Football Manager. It just feels like he's playing some sort of create your club mode, and he's
not even playing Football Manager because he'd get relegated on Football Manager too. So I don't know what the fella's up to. So it's typical rich person sort of stuff, isn't it? Where they'll make an investment or they'll do something and they just refuse to admit they're wrong. They just refuse to just say, right, I made a mistake. Yep, well, let's move on from it. Because the thing is, we've got Chelsea, we're going to get murdered. Leicester, if they're anything close to back now, which they looked against Newcastle, battered. Burnley and even Norwich, Newcastle could see all of them beating us, except Newcastle maybe. Especially because the thing is, the way Norwich played against United, that team beats us 100%. That team comfortably beats us as well.
I mean, and it's getting to a grim bit where we're talking, it's getting to a grim period already in December when we're on about beating relegation teams and a must win, or like must win against them. It's driving me up the wall. I do think it's ironic. Obviously, you said about we'd have to get a manager. We'd say, listen, this is the guy. It's a process. Be patient. And I agree. I agree that that's probably the best way to have gone. I wish we'd hired Ragnick a couple of years ago and just let him do what United are planning to let him do, and that's just take one season and build a club.
It doesn't even have to be Ragnick though. It could have been anyone with a vision, anyone with
director of football left to his job.
Yeah, anyone with a sense. Because the thing is, with what Everton should be doing now is we should be having a look at the open market of managers. Because I mean, I know Jesse Marsh is available, but I don't want him anywhere near Everton.
It's very thin on the ground, isn't it?
It's not even that. Well, the thing is with Jesse Marsh, because I know he's the big name who Red Bull have just sacked. So I know he'll be on. The geezer can't manage a defence to save his life at all.
No,
and he's got two best young centre backs in the world in that squad. So and Willie Orban too. So imagine if you give him Michael Keane, we'd concede 6 again. It'd be because obviously they beat teams. They've got results against PSG and stuff, but the fella's got Red Bull Leipzig 7th in the league, so it's just got to be as soon as someone decent loses the job, we have to be on it.
Yeah,
Or
I
even
mean,
Lucien Favre. Or, I don't know. Honestly, because I'm looking at here at the Premier League like manager odds to get sacked. With Rafa, I don't think you barely get anything. I think you actually barely get anything for betting on the fella to get out. Like, there's people like even I take Hasenhuttl.
yeah,
I know
I like Hasenhuttl. I
I
keep forgetting we could just try and poach a manager. I keep thinking we've got to go for what's about, but we could. Obviously, I don't think we've got the power to be knocking on teams near, round us. But Southampton, he's been there a couple of years. I don't think he's had the backing he wishes he had, and I think with the backing, there's potential there.
Because the mental part about it is, it might be to the point now where I take any other manager in the Premier League except Steven Gerrard.
Potter would be brilliant.
And
Yeah,
anyone in this league, and I'm including Eddie Howe in that, would get better results than Rafa right now. He'd get better results than Rafa.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
I want Eddie Howe
Oh, no,
before
yeah,
everyone
no.
in the comments starts again, but he'd get better results than Rafa.
I mean, anyone but Rafa, because it's becoming a bit of
He's lost
dystopian.
everyone.
Yeah, he's lost the fans.
I was talking to my girlfriend earlier, and I said it could have been Pep Guardiola. I'd still want him sacked because it is he's at the point of no return now. You can't be on such a horrible run such a horrible run of form and be like that. Dave has put Sassuolo Atlanta manager. Sassuolo's manager doesn't manage them anymore. The same guy anyway, isn't he? Shakhtar now. And I don't want the fellow who's just got 0 points in the group with Sheriff Tiraspol. So,
Tell you, quite like Vallecano's manager, is it Bordalas?
Rayo Vallecano's?
Yeah,
I
they're
think
doing.
you are right, but with managers like him, I think he's a Spanish league expert.
Yeah, he's doing really overperforming with them.
Would you take Wayne Rooney? No.
I tell you now, he will be heavily mentioned because I saw Mike Parry say it on Twitter. He will be heavily mentioned. Bill Kenwright will heavily push for someone like Wayne Rooney. I've got no doubt about it.
The guy's decent. He's definitely a championship level manager.
If he keeps Derby up, that'll be.
If he keeps Derby up, give him it at the end of the season. But Jesus, man, it's like
you can't be doing. Yeah, you can't be just whacking jobs out.
The thing is with Wayne as well is he likes to have a squad full. He's got a lot of academy players. If you watch Derby County, I'm at university here, so I can tell you this. Most of it's their academy. We'd love to see that, but is Mashiri going to let him do that? That's where the issue starts to come in. Mashiri will want to sign Gareth Bale next summer, So it's
Eden Hazard. He's another one that's linked at the minute.
Not. Listen, I pray not. Listen, if we can convince Eden Hazard to take $100,000 a week or less, fine. I'll accept that. But I would not pay that man over $100,000 a week when he's so reliable. Zidane as the right, you're having me on now, Eugene. I'm not falling for that. Zidane as the manager. Zidane doesn't know what an Everton is. He doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think Zidane's going to come to us. Oh, Eugene did say about Mike Perry. I wouldn't listen to Mike Perry though, because the fella seems to think every time Calvert-Lewin's advert comes on that it's live. So the fella's not the brightest spark in the world. I'll give him that.
No, but pundits are they? The Michael Owen thing earlier. Please tell me.
They'll either get easier, harder, or the same team. Like, yeah, cheers.
Yeah, cheers, Owen, mate. Cheers, Jesus.
A couple of names being knocked about here. I mean, Moz has put Rooney under Big Dun, which I'm pretty sure is what Parry said to the exact. Actually, I think he said get Big Duncan as his assistant, or have them sort of maybe like the Chester managers or former Chester managers.
Yeah, like the Cowleys.
Yeah, where there's like two of them in the dugout.
That's too confusing.
Yeah, I don't know if they've got that type of relationship either. Like those managers spend all day together.
Make Europe season on season playing attacking football. Where is there a way I can? Atalanta have no budget and make Europe season on season playing attacking football exactly the type of manager we need.
Is it
Gasperini?
Atalanta's Gasperini. I was just
Gasperini. Gasperini wouldn't leave Atalanta for us. Don't be silly. Or we'd have to pay him a stupid amount of money. which would then be useless when we sack him. I think the problem with managers like that is, are they going to be able to handle the physicality of the English league, handle the egos in the English league? Atalanta, if you look at it, there's no egos in that squad. With us, there's egos. Listen, I love Richarlison, but the fella's got a massive ego. Alex Iwobi's got a massive ego. They've all got egos. So you need in the Premier League, man managers, it's why they do so much better man managers over here, because you need to be able to manage egos, and everyone's got one in the Premier League. Even the most average of footballers think they're so much better than they actually are. And, that's rich coming from me, but that's how it works in this league. But I think I'd be willing to take the risk if Atalanta had taken minimum compensation. But I think he's an old fella as well, I think, though, Gasperini. I'm positive Gasperini's in his 60s now.
Plays a 3 or 5 back, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think we could. He's 63. So for a manager, he's getting up there towards retirement age now. But we could play a 3. I just think, because as I said, I've said this to you before, we've got 2 out of the 3 centre-backs there for it. What?
I couldn't remember who it is that I've had this conversation with about 5 backs at Everton. And
where's he? We got a massive ego, like 1 goal. Yeah, it doesn't matter how many goals they've scored, does it, mate? When you're making $100,000 a week, you're going to think you're good at football, aren't you? It's how it works, isn't it? Maybe he don't, but he doesn't seem to care enough about playing for Everton, so he's got to have some sort of ego there. Maybe like Joe, he is right. Give it to Big Dunk so he gets some identity back. We might have to, because do you know what? Maybe it might just be a good idea to give it to Dunk as an interim until the end of the season. If he does good enough, give him the full-time job. If he doesn't,
when do you cut your losses and think this gamble's going to end up killing us? Say now we give it him and we end up really dropping the table at a rapid rate. And how good does it look if we get rid of a legend?
I think we're going to do that anyway. I think as long as we don't make the Oli mistake of keeping him too long and letting him continuously make mistakes, if we tell him, listen, we've got to sack you now, go prove yourself in the lower leagues, even a lower Premier League team, and then maybe we can see you again in the future or something like that.
I'd rather have Rooney over Dunk. I mean, just because Rooney's actually gone out and is managing an actual football team.
I think we easily could get Rooney because Derby is so desperate for money to make sure they don't get another hit from.
I don't want him, but
yeah, but I don't. Yeah, he's just born idle. He is. I don't know if he's born idle. I don't know if he's thick, but it's just you don't know, do you? You don't know until you speak to them, and even then, they won't show you the truth of themselves. But I think there's got to be some part of. There's a lot of players in this Everton squad who must think they're better than this club.
I think his price tag's done him. I think he's way too average for the price tag we paid, and he'll never shake that now.
Yeah,
if you spend big money on it.
I do agree with Joe, though. I do think we won't go down. Even if we finish 17th, then at least in the summer, we can tell a new manager, right, we've got money now. We can spend money. Here's a core of players you've got. You might get another 60 million if Richarlison leaves. You can bring in your players or bring in a director of football who can start scouting the players for his system and then bring in the manager. And there might already be players in that system there for. Because I don't think it's impossible for us to play attacking football. I think some of the core of the team's there. Dom, Richie, Gray, even someone like Townsend off the bench, Decore, Alan is the man who can sit back. Mina can progress the ball decently. Godfrey can do it well. Digne. The core of the team is there. It is. I feel like it's squad that we have no good squad players. So if someone gets injured, we're crushed. And then we're still playing ancient Seamus Coleman at right back, who, as we say, it's not that fella's fault. He keeps making mistakes. The guy shouldn't be playing anymore.
I'd honestly stick Godfrey out there and play Luca Dean at left back. Just stick Godfrey out there.
Yeah, I think he's better at centre back. That's the problem, though. But in January, there's no way we can't sign someone in January for a minimal.
He'll go for Maitland-Niles again, who's supposedly fuming. Yeah, for the fact that he's not Seamus Coleman being hung out to dry every week.
At least
probably take him.
We need someone who's got legs because do you know what? Coleman doesn't. I think Coleman will have a decent start to the game, and then it just gets progressively worse and worse throughout the game because his legs can't hack it anymore. And it's just, Mozapuk's here. Don't you agree that we're sick of writing seasons off? Yeah. And especially when you come back to last season where we were second at this point still. Pretty sure we were still second. Yeah, but it's like it's a joke, isn't it? We had 3/4 of a season of hope, and then everything went back to normal after that. And this season, I don't know what it is because Rafa, he's just making excuses as well. The fella just keeps making excuses instead of accepting what goes wrong. We run so much, but we don't have the ball. That's why we run so much. If you average 30% possession, of course you're going to run more than a team that averages 60. It's common sense.
And there's one thing that doesn't work with Everton fans. It's like little antidotes and like clicky stuff like I know the city. That really works if you're Ancelotti saying he loves the city and we're flying high. That doesn't work if you're Rafa Benitez with 2 wins in 2 months. That's not going to get anyone on your side. That will just infuriate the fan base more.
I think I said this to you last time we were on. I could not care less if Rafa Benitez can walk to the Liver building without Google Maps. I don't care. We're not winning football games. Listen, if we brought in a Liverpoolian manager or someone from the city, someone who knows the city, for example, if Duncan Ferguson got the job, said I know the city, and then started hammering teams, and we started winning games, I'd be like, yeah, fair play. But Rafa started saying I know the city when we started losing, a sort of protect me, don't worry, I know. It's like Joe puts here. It's trying to brainwash the fans and trying to say we played well, but yeah, we run a lot, yeah, we press a lot. Which, don't get me wrong, the pressing is an improvement. At least the players are pressing for the ball now, but we don't do anything with the ball. We've gone from not doing anything without the ball to not doing anything with the ball, and it's just you can't have one without the other.
No,
it's got to be
you
a
need
balance
to.
of both. Crystal Palace are a good example. They press us, win the ball, and then do things with the ball.
We're too slow as well. When you win the ball back, you have like a split. I think Ragnick did it in his coach's voices. He explained it really well, so I'm going to butcher it in terms of the terms as he puts it. But like when you press and you win the ball, you have like a certain couple of seconds where the player's out of position, the team have been caught out of position because they're transitioning, and that's in those key moments that you've got to pass the ball.
I feel like it might be 9 seconds. I seem to remember the number 9. About that.
Yeah, I think it was like, no, I was going to say between like 5 and 10, I was going to say. But the problem is we win it, and then our players will stare at the ball. 10 seconds go, and they boot it.
They wait for Damari Gray.
Yeah,
listen, the fella's really good. I'd have been happy if we signed Damari Gray while we were in the money.
Yeah, that's the one thing with Benitez. Gray's been phenomenal.
Gray, Townsend have both been it.
Yeah, although Townsend's got off the ball a little bit, but his goal contributions is still, I think he's still in the top. I think he's 4th in terms of goal contributions in the Premier League with 30.
I think the problem is with that, though, Andros Townsend should have never produced like that in the first place.
No, I stick by what I said when we signed him. If he wasn't our only right winger we signed, I'd be happy with that. He's a useful player off the bench. He's a bit, he can play that defensive winger type role as well. He's a clever, pad in the squad.
I think with Calvert-Lewin back, he's useful because then all of a sudden, if we stick to this 4-3-3, which I think, we lost, but I think we should. But, under Rafa, let's say, under whoever we stick with, I think we've got to play a 4-3-3. Unless he...
I agree. Go on, you go.
Unless we play 2, like we did with Carlo, but even that didn't work with... But saying that didn't work because we had no pace on the wing. So if all of a sudden we've got Damari Gray and Gordon, it might. But, I think Rafa has to go. I think that's the sum up of it. The guy has lost the dressing room. I don't think he's an awful manager. I really don't. He just doesn't suit Everton. The fans are going to, as everyone said, the fans will be on him as soon as he goes on a losing streak. And instead of trying to prove us wrong, I feel like he's just making excuses instead. So, listen, after Chelsea, unless we win, he has to go. That has to be it. Or we have to be doing what Chelsea did when they sacked Lampard. And as soon as they sacked Lampard, they had someone straight ready to take his job. They had Thomas Tuchel ready. They had rung Thomas Tuchel to make sure. We need to make sure that as soon as Rafa goes, bang, we've at least got good targets in mind. Because look at that. 1 win in 11 games. Wouldn't that be 4 points out of 44. Christ. Is that right?
Think so, yeah.
Or would it not be 3 out of 1 win in 11? It'd be 3 out of 33, wouldn't it?
So it's a lot easier to go by months. It'll be like 3 wins in like 2.5 months.
We're just shite. Let's just sum that up. We are relegation. We've got to be the worst form team.
That
in the
is
league.
relegation form. 2 wins
It's us
in
and
2
Newcastle,
months.
isn't it? It's got to be us and Newcastle.
In terms of the
Fighting for who's
form
the worst.
table, or
Yeah, it's got to be us and Newcastle fighting for who's the worst.
possibly, because even Norwich look a little bit.
Yeah, but Norwich are fighting United, and you know what? Should have beat United. If we're
They're picking up
honest.
a bit of form, aren't they?
Yeah, you won't get sacked unless we go out of the FA Cup stretch.
That's a possibility, you know.
Oh, I don't. I could see Hull beating us, and I want to go to that game as well because it's not too far from me.
Newcastle have better form than us. They've got
So
2
are we the
draws.
worst?
Yeah, we've got 4 losses and a win. They've got 2 draws, a win, and 2 losses.
We're making Newcastle look good, man. We're making Newcastle look good.
We've got the same form as Watford.
At this rate, lads, we're going on a championship tour. Yeah. We might win a trophy then, but probably not.
No,
we probably still won't win the
we'll
championship.
Get stuck in there. Yeah, there's a lot of games in the championship. Knowing our luck, would be bloody stuck in there. Do a Preston where every year we look like we might get out and never do.
Yeah, or Derby, or where we'll get to the final and just everywhere.
Just Everton the final.
Yeah, it's just Toffee TV confirmed in the final word. We are the worst form. Yeah, we're awful. We are.
Yeah, I can believe
this might be the worst Everton team I've seen in my life. It might be. This or the Allardyce team.
Because I still stick by this. There's quality in this team. It's just.
But that's what makes it worse. That's what makes it so bad.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if you go back to when we finished 17th for Rooney's last season, at least we knew we were crap and relying on a child to win us games. With this, it's just crap all around. The players don't believe in the manager, clearly. Dinier's questioning the tactics. And the thing is, usually I'd be on the manager's side for this. But he's right. We'd got to the point where when Digne started questioning his tactics, Rafa should have looked at the form table and been like, maybe my player's right. How about we adapt to the situation? You know, because according to, Rafa himself, he's great at adapting. Look what he did in Istanbul. Clearly not anymore. He's lost it. I think in a similar sentence to what everyone says about Mourinho, Rafa has been passed by football. That's not a bad thing. He's got a fantastic career. He was a fantastic manager. It's the same with players. Football eventually passes you by. And I think Moshiri needs to realise that before we end up in the championship.
Well, Mourinho is another name that was linked with us last week. So.
I'd rather him.
Yeah, I'd rather him than Rafa.
Because do you know what? At least we should hopefully get a manager bounce from him.
It'd bring the entertainment as well.
And do you know what? Mourinho gets the best out of good players.
Oh yeah, like don't get me wrong. In 2 seasons, 3 seasons time, it'll be a car crash. But for that first season, he'll get the best out of what you've got, and he'll be an entertainer.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'll take the funny interviews to talk about on these streams. Anything is better than Rafa at this point.
Yeah, David Collins mentioned Strack at Freiburg. I don't know if he'll leave, but I know Owen, who comes on.
Yeah, Freiburg just battered Mönchengladbach's 5 or 6-0, didn't they?
Yeah.
Quite recently.
And like if Owen likes him, then the fella's very good defensively. I will say that. I know Owen's a big fan of his pragmatic football and defensive football. So he must be quite good.
As long as it ain't Rafa bad, 2 quid. That's brilliant. £2 towards. Do you know what? It'll do anything. It'll do something. Duncan or Jose for the party. Honestly, Jose, I think, would rather jump off a cliff than join us. And I don't blame the fella.
Yeah, I mean, he's not confirmed either that his Roma stint is in that bad. They were making it out like he would join us, like he's not got a job. He's like not currently sat there in Italy. Yeah,
like in the end, he's had a bad start to the season. He could easily pick it up at the second half. The Italian league is still quite close between some teams. So Rafa's just been too stubborn. That's exactly it. He's just been stubborn. And instead of learning from his mistakes, like any good manager would, he's just falling for the same trap. Because in the end, when we played that 4-3-3, what was different about every other time we played? Just the formation looked different.
Yeah, I was trying to work out because all we've been saying is we need that third man in midfield, and he did it against Crystal Palace. And I watched
Gomez
it. And
was playing as a 10. It looks like
Yeah.
Gomez was, and that I don't. Andre Gomez never. I never remember him running that far forward.
No, he's not a number 10.
No, he's not. He's a decent player. He played amazing against Arsenal when he came off. That he looked like the set player we had on loan for a second for that 20 minutes.
His assist.
Even setting up the. I don't know who he packed in, but he packed in one of the Arsenal players, and then played it to Figure. But it's just. I do think we lost the dressing room. I do think lost dressing room to beat Arsenal and lost to Palace. I think Arsenal was one of our better performances of the season.
Yeah, I don't know if we Arsenal though. They're Arsenal, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just shows, doesn't it, when the players put some fight in? But it's like the players who do put fight in, Rafa just throws it everywhere. And Joe put Gomez is a bench player for when the game has slowed down. You are right. I don't think Gomez can handle the full pace of a game. I think he's better against teams who either don't want any of the ball or teams who are starting to slow down, and Burnley, for example. But the problem is, I think we've got the lowest average possession in the league. So we can't play Gomez to Gomez's strengths if we don't have the ball.
I imagine we're quite low on a lot of things in this league.
And positive possession, we're in the bottom 3. You go on to whatever the next point is, and I'll tell you.
I'll look now, but yeah, I was just looking then though about Roma, just out of curiosity, because I know Jose will split the fan base right down the middle as well. But bar the Europa League, glimpse or the Europa Conference glimpse stuff, they are currently 6th still, 6 points off the 4th spot. But like, if that Roma, they're still ahead of Juventus. I don't think Jose's job's in trouble yet. So that's not even worth entertaining.
That Roma squad is not as good as people think as well.
No, I was going to say.
They're probably who would have been the most impactful player this season. Hasn't played a game. Spinazzola hasn't played.
He's still injured from the Euros, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's like we are 3rd lowest on possession. And we are only 0.7 ahead of Burnley in last place. We're not even 1% better than Burnley in possession.
I know what people mean about the injuries and stuff, but there's just not enough on paper to convince me that's just anymore, the problem.
Is it?
No, and if there was, then I'd rather just pick up points by shutting up shop or something. But
it's like the fella can't make his mind up. He wants to play defensive football and then throws everyone forward all of a sudden for like a 2-minute burst, and he thinks it's going to surprise teams. They expect it at this point, and it's just we made Jordan Ayew look like one of the best forwards in the league. Listen, Jordan Ayew's decent.
He was going to score.
Jordan Ayew is a decent player. I think he's quite underrated, but we made him look amazing. We made him look unreal. You know what I mean? It's Everton, isn't it? It's like the video says, but it's
any player that's down on their luck in a bit of form. We are the perfect team to be knocking about against.
Like Chelsea, poor form. Chelsea are going to rub their hands together, go, right, lads, we've been crap recently. Let's put 4 past these idiots.
Yeah, Lukaku probably will start and will probably get a hat-trick, and that will be a really, really tough thing to swallow.
My heart will be broken.
Yeah, that'll really upset me watching Lukaku.
Does he want the job? Player manager?
God, could you imagine?
He'd do better than Rafa. We need players in January. If Rafa gets no one or really poor players, then give him the ball. Give him the boot. Sorry, he's not going to make it. If he makes it to January, I will be impressed. Because I can easily see us dropping points to Burnley and Newcastle. I really can.
I said at the start of the year I'll give him till Christmas. If he does see off Christmas, I will be very, very surprised. Not just because of the injuries, we don't look like a football team at the minute. Results aside,
a team, but a semi-professional one.
Yeah, results aside, I don't think Majiri watches all our games.
He doesn't watch any games. He only watches games that are important. It might be at the Merseyside derby, but remember, boys, he's building us a big new stadium that we're going to go watch Everton versus QPR in.
Well, that's why I don't think he watches all the games, but like he probably looks at the scores. I hope he does, because that's the bare minimum you should be doing if you own
Does
a
what you
football
do when
club.
you're on holiday. When you're on holiday, if you go on holiday and you don't care because you're on holiday, you're like, I'm not looking at Everton. Wait a minute, let me just quickly check what the score is. Oh, we've lost again, and it ruins your day on holiday. You know what I mean? That's my
just doing that would question me, but like if he actually watched the games, I think he'd be a lot more. He'd be a lot quicker to get rid of him if he actually watched the games, because it's not like we've had a bad run of luck. We just look really down bad.
Well, there's two here, and I think they do kind of link. So we've got Gerwin saying, would you take Martinez back? And I think it'd be better to answer that after this. It says, if Rafa can make it past Chelsea, surely we'll be able to get a win from either Leicester, Burnley, and Newcastle. They are three teams that we can relaunch our season with, possibly.
I remember saying that about Palace, though.
Leicester beat us. Well, I thought Palace would have been it for a slight second at first. I was like, we beat Arsenal, we can beat Palace. Chelsea are on awful form. Maybe we can steal something from Chelsea. We'll be on 2 wins. They've been crap. And then I realised the football club I support and was like, oh, wait a minute, we don't do that. Yeah, I think we can get points against Burnley and Newcastle, but I think that'll be Duncan Ferguson getting those points as the interim manager until we find whoever. Yes, by the way, I would take Roberto Martinez back in a heartbeat over Rafa. I think he's a better manager than what he was when he left us. I really do.
I think he's matured now. He's been at Belgium. I mean, as much as like I know what he's saying, like, and I said, he's just got to last these bad run of games. But like Leicester, I think beat us. But I think Newcastle, I'd hope we'd beat them. But Burnley would be tough. Like, we can't just assume Burnley are rollovers. Burnley are very physical and would just kick lumps out of us. And I don't think our players have got the fight.
Yeah.
Especially if Allen's fell out with him now and he's not going to play.
Where we put Roberto Martinez still can't defend. Rafa can't defend. The fella can't defend. You know what I mean? He sets it up for him. We still lose every game. Because the thing is with Roberto Martinez, right, is he can't defend, but Belgium's centre-backs are worse than ours. Genuinely, Belgium's centre-backs make our centre-backs look good. They're awful.
They're old, aren't they?
They're not even old. They're just crap. Who is it? It's Vertonghen, who's decent still. Boyata, is it?
Alderweireld that is still there as well.
I don't even think he plays. I know there's Boyata, who used to play for Man City, I think.
Denea for Lyon, is it?
And Denea, who's probably the only only one who do something.
He does look good.
Yeah, Denea is good, but Denea is not bad. But Vertonghen now, you can tell Vertonghen's age is kicking in. Like, Vertonghen's one of those centre backs now who's gotten to old age where he needs 2 good centre backs around him, or needs a good defence around him. Vermaelen.
Yeah, Vermaelen. That's the other one.
He still plays.
Yeah, in Japan.
No, I mean, he still plays for Belgium.
The Japanese league.
He can't still play for Belgium.
Yeah, I think he was at the Euros.
Never. Yeah, so Belgium's defence is worse than ours. That's saying something. As well, why did Jared Bradford not play? It can't be that bad to the point where he can't play now.
I just don't think he's. I don't think he's about giving the youth a proper go.
Because I remember Bradford being quite good when he played under Ancelotti in like the cups and stuff. And I don't think he was bad. He wasn't bad for Blackburn until he got injured, was he?
No, he did. He did have that high boot to the face. A couple of my mates who are Blackburn fans said he was good in bits. Like, he'd be all right for one game, then he'd look a bit wobbly. But he's a young lad.
Yeah, and then Courtois, and yeah. I mean, I'd rather have Martinez than Rafa. That doesn't mean he's my first choice manager, but I think it's that bad with Rafa now that I take anything except Steven Gerrard.
Good, yeah, and he was linked with the job supposedly in the summer.
Nah, you knew he wanted to take it. Look when Liverpool played Villa, man. He was trying to lose that game. He was trying, hoping. He was sat there like, please don't score, please. But Brentford was fantastic, but Rafa's keeping him out because apparently Brentford has more to learn. we're crap. The only thing, because the thing is, what did we do in 2002 or 2003, where we were so crap that we were like, do you know what? Let's give youngsters a chance. We found a young 16-year-old called Wayne Rooney, and I'm not saying any of these lot are going to turn out close to Wayne. And that is the one good thing about bringing him in is Bramthwaite, Sims, Dobbin, and Yango will play. It even might be the cups, but they'll at least be on the bench and they'll come off it. And it's the one thing is Wayne Rooney will demand respect from all the players and everyone will respect him. It's the best thing I think he brings. So maybe, you know what? It'd be better than Rafa, to be honest with you. I still think Gordon needs to start every game. Yeah, so do I, Inky. Whenever he plays, he has an impact. The kid is the highest potential player we've got in the club. Him or Nkunku, I think.
I would say he's high potential, yeah.
Yeah, he's huge potentially. I think even some of us don't realise how good he actually could be. You know, I think technically, anyway, I think the physical aspects are still... I mean, he still fights for every ball, and I think he could... But, you know, I think
he's a bit light, isn't he?
He has to play every week.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially once... It'd be interesting to see what he does when Calvert-Lewin's back, because obviously Richarlison, he will probably play Richarlison in that 10 role, slightly behind the striker. And then Damari Gray, and then
I think it has to just be 4-4-2. Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin, Townsend. Have Calvert-Lewin on the opposite side, so on the left, so Townsend can swing it in. And then have Gray in, so Gray can, do what Damari Gray does, aka dribble past everyone to the edge of the box and shoot, because no one else offers him any support.
And I'm pretty, after watching him try it twice against Arsenal and hit the woodwork twice, and one of them go in, the other one set Richarlison, I'm quite happy for him to get halfway to the outside.
I don't even think his attempts against Crystal Palace were the worst.
No, I mean, it gets pretty sad when you say, I'd be happy if we just knocked it to our winger and he just shot from anywhere, but it works. He's got a decent foot, and it's not like Yerry Mina or Michael Keane running to the edge of the box and having a go, or Seamus Coleman. This is a fellow that's, proven he can at least hit the woodwork.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack the Lad seems to think he'll go Gray, Richie, Gordon, DCL striker. I hope so.
I don't think he'll start Gordon over Townsend. I just don't. I like Gordon, like I said. He's out of all the Everton players currently in the squad, he's probably right up there for my favourite. But he's just Rafa in it. He relies so much on experience to the point where it actually detriments us. And to be fair to Rondon, he did decent for the goal. Fair play to the fella. He's improving the more he plays. But
yeah, and it was a
very
very
really be having to say that is the point. That we have to rely on Solomon Rondon to save us against Crystal Palace.
I didn't think he was going to get another one. I thought once he got that, I was like, it's a Rondon-esque goal because he held off the defender as well. But he's not getting another one.
As he's on 4 yellows and we'll need to play him against Leicester. It depends if he's keeps being a stubborn idiot and doesn't play Haaland, doesn't it? I think Decore. No. But even then, if we tell Decore, hey, go lad, go play against Chelsea, but you can't be aggressive, what's the point playing him?
It'll be like Fabian Delph and Andre Gomez in the middle.
It'll be Delph, Gomez, and
Shabalin?
I hope not. I hope not. That fella's finished at Everton as well, man. Well, to put it simply, there's two things that sum up our season that I think resonates perfectly with me. Liverpool got more points in their Champions League group than we have got in the league, and Decore's got more points on his licence than we do in the league. Kind of sums up how our season's going, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, our form is just horrendous. Go in the ears, put don't rate Delph. I think that's a sentiment that's...
The entire fan base agrees with it, but we've got... What can we say at this point? What can we say?
We're running out of, like, beggars can't be choosers brings me to mind here. We're running out of players. We can't... as much as I'd like to not play Delph, I don't think we're in a position to start looking down.
We don't want Fabian Delph sliding into our DMs trying to tell us we'd ask him for a picture if we saw him.
Absolutely mad. And by the way, just taking this 1 minute for a shameless plug. Don't forget to like the stream, guys. Unknown Unknowns just mentioned it there, so don't forget to like the stream. We'd massively appreciate it. He's also put Big Dunk should start choking the players out.
But you know what? I'm not encouraging it, but if it starts getting results,
And there you go.
We love Agent Rafa.
And
you can't even tag him off for it, can you?
And that is a
we
prime
do
example.
It to them. We do it to them. You can't even blame the fella for it.
It just shows why we should have never had him in the first place.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? Like he summed it up perfectly there. You know, if Liverpool fans are coming into the chat and saying we love Agent Rafa, you can't keep him. But the fella's right though, isn't it? That's the worst part about it.
Yeah, he needs to go. I think he's put his squad here for Chelsea, which isn't awful.
Godfrey, Keane, Holgate. I didn't think Holgate was bad actually as well.
No, it was one of the better games I've seen from.
The
only problem with that is it looks like a two-man midfield, and one of them's Andre Gomez. I think he needs protecting.
Andre Gomez. I do Delph Alan Gomez, and then and then bloody Gordon / Townsend, Gray, Richarlison, because I don't think Dom's back.
No, he's no.
I know he's in training again, but I think that'll be maybe the game after Chelsea.
It's light training, isn't it? He's doing still.
But it's fair. Wasn't Damari Gray on light training and then was back in the squad like 2 days later?
Yeah, more worryingly, apparently the reason that Danny Donocchi, or whatever how you ever pronounce his surname, left was because Rafa was like cleared Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's still out now. So it's like makes you wonder. Could you imagine trying to clear a player that clearly is that badly injured?
Well, he did it. Who was it? Mina.
Yeah, Mina shouldn't have played. Silly that was.
He's just desperate to keep his job to the point where he's willing to hurt players more.
Mina wouldn't have played if he didn't fall out with Digne.
No. Well, Jack here puts, he did it at Madrid, now here, fell out with the players. You need to open your eyes and look at James, then Digne, next, then Richie, Alan, and possibly someone like Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I think Calvert-Lewin goes in January if Rafa's still a manager. I really do. I think he's gone.
Yeah, and I bet he falls out with the staunchest of Everton staff who've been there all their life, boiled fans.
Ken Wright.
Yeah.
I don't like Ken Wright. I think he's an idiot, but I agree with him.
Like him.
But I agree with him. He's right. Get rid of Rafa before it turns toxic, and it's starting to get there now. I wouldn't say we're at full heads exploding toxicity yet. But it's, each game it's building and building. The derby was the start of it. I feel like the derby was when everything started to turn toxic. Crystal Palace was, there was Fat Spanish Way. They did the Richarlison chant when he was subbed off. There was red and white shite, I think was chanted. So, clearly the fans don't want him there. And, Farhad, he doesn't want us to get he doesn't want the team to get relegated. Like, the amount of money he loses if we get relegated.
To be fair, mate, this appointment was started on toxicity. There were banners outside Goodison and idiots that couldn't figure out his actual address, trying to put banners outside it. It was this whole appointment started with toxicness, and it's going to end in toxicness.
Yeah, but then I feel like he redeemed himself with that start run of the season, where even the Rafa haters were like, right, we might as well give him a chance now. And then he's just been so stubborn with the same tactical approach that doesn't work with Everton because we don't have the players, or he'd play a two-man midfield of Alan, who exclusively sits back, and Decore, who wants to go forward. So then there'd be no one in the actual middle of the park. You'd have Alan in front of the defence, Decore with the attackers, and then just huge space in the middle. It's just... the fella's not clueless. He's won a Champions League. But... I feel like he's one of those managers who just wants to stick to his system, even if it will not work, and it's detrimental to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's put his Gaultier available. No, he's at Nice, absolutely smashing it at Nice, doing really well.
Yeah, the thing is, though, would he have done that well at Everton with no money? He was given money at Nice. That's the sort of problem. Is Gaultier available? No chance. But
I think he'd have done all right at us.
I think he'd have done better than Rafa. 100% would have done better than Rafa. But
think he's one of those where, like, your first season it's dodgy, but you see massive improvements in his second.
well, I'm just trying to think. Rafa with money would be more of a mess. Yeah, the guy can't spend money right. He never has been able to. Even at Liverpool, when did he ever spend money right? You know, if 1 out of 10 of your transfers are good, you know what I mean? And then we're saying, yeah, let Rafa sign who he wants. You know, when it's, especially with how much Mashiri gets involved now and how much it has been exposed that, like, because we were always torn between who signed Iwobi. Now we know, you know, but it's ridiculous. And I think the problem with Everton is we just need, I don't even, because I'm just trying to think of managers that we would really, really help us.
I don't think Potter has had an awful lot of money to spend. I will bang this drum till he comes.
I don't know. He was given like 40 million. I mean, we'd given a lot more, but I think if Brighton finish 15th, 16th again, he might take the jump because now they're really plummeting off. Let's see if they give him a striker in January, I'd say. Because if we can keep DCL till the summer, then bring Graham Potter in, Graham Potter may be able to convince Dom to stay unless we get a huge offer. But because the thing is, I think the problem with this could be Dom goes in January, Richarlison goes in summer. That's it. I do not care that combined we will get about £130 million for them. We will end up spending it on awful players, like we always do. Even Graham Potter's signings, they haven't been the best. If you had to judge him on one thing, it's the same thing as the Eddie Howe problem. The fella doesn't know really what to do with money. So I think with Potter, you have to have a director of football with him who can be like, listen, you know, be careful what you're spending your money on here.
Yeah, and apparently, there were rumours that came out today that Benitez was going to get sacked or whatever, and we were going to go for Campos, and that's a load of rubbish.
I wish.
I was thinking.
I mean, actually saying that, does the fella even speak English?
Don't think so.
Probably not a good idea
then. Looking at it now, Nuno. I tell you what, he'll hire Nuno. He'd hire Nuno if he sat Benitez.
We'll finish close to the top half.
That's
Lampard. Don't you ever suggest that name again. Actually, you're not saying that. Lampard will at least start the good young players.
Lampard's another name I've seen, and you got to think Mashiri, how he thinks.
He thinks big names, doesn't he?
Mm.
He doesn't think, let's go get this manager who not many people know who's impressing somewhere. You know, who manages that Norwegian team? That battered Roma 6-1?
Oh, no idea. I know the team you're on about though.
And he's made like the best team to ever grace that league. You know, it's a risk. It's a risk, but I'd take a risk over Rafa.
Looking at the odds here, Marcelo Gallardo's in like 25-1.
He's just signed a new contract.
Then you've got Van Nistelrooy, Parker, Fark.
Ruud Van Nistelrooy? Is he a manager?
I don't know what he is. Big enough name for us, though.
He's a coach, isn't he? Oh, he's PSG's under-19s. Or PSV's second team. And he's Louis van Gaal's assistant. Get out. Right. Go on. Let's have a look. Who else is on there? Who's at the top? Who are like the top three?
Kasper Hulmund, the Danish coach.
I'm in the middle about him. I'd take it because he did really well with Denmark, but international success doesn't usually translate.
And then it's like Dunk, Lampard, Potter, Favre and Fark.
Who?
Fark. Daniel Fark.
Right.
That'd be so Everton, that would, to get a manager who's had an absolute stinker in the Prem.
Yeah, it would be, but I mean, I don't think Lampard was awful at Chelsea.
Oh no, I mean Fark. Fark would be a stinker, yeah.
Fark has a manager, yeah.
Huh?
Farker.
Yeah.
Daniel Fark. I forgot the geezer existed. I thought you were on about Favre for some reason.
No, he was on it. He was
Favre and Fonseca. Please, I'd love Fonseca at Everton.
I don't know if he can come because of tax reasons. Is that not what's stopped?
It's work permit. But it's because no other club wants to renew, who wants to actually try get his work permit. if we actually tried, it'd cost us more money, but it would be worth it. It would be worth it, I think, because in the end, the fella plays decent football. You know, if it doesn't work, we won't get relegated. And because we're at that point now where, let's face it, to be fair though, Carl, if someone kicked it today, that is true, yeah. Do you know what, mate? I would take that tuna sweet corn sandwich, and I wouldn't even eat a tuna and sweet corn sandwich, mate. So if I take that over Rafa, then you know it's getting desperate. It is at the point where it's just sack Rafa and give us anyone. Like,
well, anyone's got to be better than the current situation we're in.
I mean, what are the odds that we sack him and then David Moyes goes into the top 3 favourite odds to join again, even though he's in a Champions League race and could win the Europa League?
It's I saw some. I don't know what the answer is, because if they hold out, give it Dunk, there's no way in 6 months there's a guarantee there'll be someone good enough knocking about.
That's the problem, isn't it? There's no I mean, Shumlin will still be available, but then you might as well just give him the January job. But I mean, if anyone wants good news to cheer you up, Alex Iwobi should be going to play in the Africa Cup of Nations. I think Nigeria qualified, so that means no Alex Iwobi for a month. If that makes you feel any better.
State of their squad that even gets called up.
Yeah. You know what? It's so weird because they have some really good players like Osimhen, and then Alex Iwobi starts. But saying that, Alex Iwobi always batters people for Nigeria. Zidane to Everton. Stop. If Zidane joins Everton, I will get a tattoo of Zidane's face on my thigh. I'm that confident. You know, it's no chance. Just seen a rumour on Twitter saying Dunker's left. Don't. I know it's false. Just don't even bring that up. Because if I go on tomorrow and find out it can't get worse than the current situation, what if Solskjaer do better than Rafa?
Don't want Solskjaer either.
I don't want him, but he'd do better than Rafa.
It's mental how many people I wouldn't have, but like how many I'd have over Rafa.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because I don't know. I don't think we'd hire Ollie. I think he's, even as the manager of Man United, I don't think he was a big enough name.
Yeah, he's just, and he looked lost.
Because the thing is, if we got Zidane, the problem with Zidane is he's a really, really good man manager, but his tactics are, compared to the other managers in his category anyway, he's not the best, to put it simply. And I just don't think he would be able to manage someone like Iwobi, because he'd look at Iwobi and go, how are you so crap? To the point where he'd play Iwobi and sub himself on. He'd come out of retirement because he was that sick of seeing Iwobi. And Maka Jaka, is it? Really? Yeah, mate, to be honest, because the form is that bad under Rafa that I think right now anyone would do a better job, just because it's unrecoverable form. I don't think he can recover from this, to be honest with you, mate. I think that is the big problem. I don't think there's a way for the fella to recover. I think he's a better manager than most of the names we mentioned. Solskjaer, Lampard and stuff. Fark. Rafa's a well better manager. But he's at that point now where it's reached such a toxic state with Everton fans that almost anyone could do a better job. You know, if we appointed Solskjaer, would it get to the point where we've lost that many out of 11 games? Possibly. But I think we'd be crap. But would we be this crap is the sort of the... Rafa got a big ego. He probably does, man. He probably does. But at the same time, with the amount of stuff he's done in his career, is this breaking news? Is Raf Benitez out? Listen, more. Listen, a man can dream. Sean Dyche. Maybe at the end of the season.
Yeah, especially if Burnley do end up going down.
Bring back Gravison. Is he not managing the under? No, it's Carsley who's managing the under 21s for England. What? Thomas Gravison, is he a manager?
I don't know.
We wouldn't get Potter. Brands once in, Brands is gone. It depends if we bring in another director of football, which apparently we are looking at, are we?
Supposedly, but I don't know what the point is if you're not going to let him do what he wants.
It's if we sack Rafa, I think. I think it's I can imagine it's if we sack Rafa, we want someone else. I don't mind his lacking tactics. If higher ups agree to back him, Zidane could come and recruit him, build an actual contender. I think you are right, Cameron, but I also think it is with Zidane. It's about bringing people with a winner's mindset and trimming out the deadwood. If we can do that, if any other club wants to pay Andre Gomez 120 grand a week, wants to play Alex Iwobi, whatever. I know the fellow's making a decent living, then yeah, go for it. But at the same time, I don't think Zidane would do it. I wish. But look, I'd even say, can we have Ancelotti's son back? What's he doing? He basically managed. He managed us when Ancelotti was the manager anyway.
He's helping his dad out, apparently.
Yeah. At least we could actually defend and set pieces then. And we scored them as well. What about Lucy's father and not in work at the moment, is he? Well, didn't he have work permit issues as well? And that's why he didn't end up joining. No, he didn't join Palace because he said he wanted to spend more time away from football, which I think was because he was linked with us and he wanted to try and get a job with us.
That translates to I just don't want the Palace job.
Do you think Mashiri waiting for a new director before signing a new manager? Possibly. If you could bring someone like Campos in and then let Campos, for Campos is just the easy example because he's the first name on our minds right now. A competent director of football not a competent, actually, a good director of football, because there's easily good directors of football that are in work right now, and said, you choose your manager, set him up with some players who he could sign in January, let's get moving. Possible, but I don't think we're smart enough to do that. I don't think the higher-ups in our club have got the intelligence to do something that simple.
I agree. I agree, mate. I don't trust the decision-making that goes on at this club.
Yeah, neither do I. Whoever is, I think Mashiri's got 3 or 4 advisors. They're awful. They are the worst advisors for a thing I've ever seen. Because, oh my God, we are awful at everything. We are awful at signing players, playing football, appointing managers, alienating players, promoting youth. We can't do anything right, or they can't do anything right. 8 million a year gets any manager. But then in the senses, Dave, is what if that manager is then awful? We pay them 8 million a year to do the Tottenham and sack them and pay them a ton of money, or just firm it until the deal runs out. I think that's the problem you run into.
Yeah, I agree.
Toffee's the one who sums it up perfectly. There isn't a plan.
There isn't a plan at all. We are probably going to leave this here, though, just because we've been on for about 1 hour and 7. And I think we've covered everything we can in the extra match preview. I just want to say, Cal, thank you very much for coming on and speaking to me, mate. It's been a pleasure, as always, to speak to you. Thank you for everyone who's been commenting with us. Don't forget to like the stream. And don't forget, if you watch it on YouTube, like the video, comment down below. Give us your the game you reckon that'll see Rafa out. And don't forget, you can get all your Everton merchandise from the links in the description down below. And stay safe.